Coming to you from the historic Hart Building in Marysville, California, in Studio 93, In the Tank with Fish, with your host, Bob Fischetti.
Well, welcome to another yet exciting, incredible, amazing adventures of In the Tank with Fish. So I don't even know how many we've done of these. We always say like, subscribe, follow, share, all those things. But also leave a comment. You know, if you watch these, if there's somebody you'd say, gosh, I'd like to see Fish interview them, hear their story about what they're doing in the community. So today, my special guest is Laz. And Laz is an intern from which school?
What school? Lyndhurst High School.
From Lyndhurst High School. And this is the third year that we've had interns from Lyndhurst. And the reason I kind of balked there is I remembered we had students from other schools. But this is also Laz's second time to be an intern. So how you doing, Laz?
I am doing great. I'm actually very excited to be here right now.
Yeah. So you first time you came, so you're going to be a senior this year. So you were just coming out of your sophomore year.
No. I just came out of my junior year.
No, I mean first time.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so you got a chance to come and we talked and we ran you through stuff, but we had a bigger group and a lot more events and stuff. So we weren't able to cover as much ground, right?
Yeah, I remember that. We had I think it was the Yuba Sutter Fair.
Yeah.
And
Peach Festival.
The Peach Festival.
Yeah.
We were very
busy. It was hot.
Very hot. Oh, goodness. It was so hot. Like, just sweating. It was horrible.
Yeah. So we covered kind of the fundamentals of podcasting and interviews and blah, blah, blah. But this time we were able to cover a lot more ground. And so there was four of you, three of you from Lyndhurst and then one from Marysville Charter for the Arts. And so you guys were able to collaborate, which was how do you connect to do a podcast? So talk a little bit about that. What was that experience like this time?
That experience, I found that experience a lot more enjoyable and exciting because, for one, I know one of the people here from school, and because it was like a new opportunity to see new people, I found it more enjoyable because like everyone kind of already had an idea of how to do certain things that we already did here at the station that I did covered last year as well. So we were able to like move quicker, and I feel like that movement also made it just a lot more enjoyable in general because we got a lot more done together and collaborated the whole time.
Which is a little different because you got a chance to collaborate on somebody else's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And to critique it. And then they had a chance to do that with yours. Mm-hmm. And so you did a podcast on growing up, really.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. What was that like? Because now you got to talk about yourself and where you're at.
Right,
and not be arrogant, but still
not too arrogant. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so what was that like to do that? Because that was your choice. You picked that.
Yeah, I remember. So this year, because I think we also did that last year, but it was a lot less like professional, I guess, because we were messing around a little bit. But this year,
Laz, I was trying to not say that, but thank you for outing everybody.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to.
I mean, sometimes that happens, you get different groups, but I was able to take you guys a long way, not just through a podcast, but through doing a second episode so you would know how to move from one to the next, to do all your B-roll cuts, get you out there. You guys were able to use the new camera.
Oh, yeah.
Was able to get you out. So, yeah, you got to do a lot more this time.
Mm-hmm. So the main differences between last year and this year was it wasn't, we didn't all come up with like a group one. Instead, we also had our own individual podcasts. So I got to create my own title, my own logo, kind of like what you have, and like a general topic. So mine was basically like my self-development, and that just allowed me to talk about how I grew up, how I learned, what made me who I am, who influenced what my personality became. And I found that topic to be enjoyable because I feel like a lot of people also might go through the same thing. Certain situations, they might be missing certain parts, or may not have gone through the same things that I have gone through, so they could see a different perspective on a different person's life. So I found that topic to be a good one because there's a lot to talk about, because I've done a lot, surprisingly.
So you were able to share that and say, hey, this is what I went through. Maybe you're in a similar circumstance, or
Exactly.
you're wondering about where your growth, where do you go next? But you're also able to do a second one. And I moved you out of the studio. So now you had to create a dynamic where you were outside and then move forward with your podcast. So what did you do on the second one?
The second one. So that's where I actually liked that a lot more, because I got to think about how I can connect my next topic to like an area in order to visually describe what I'm talking about. So for that second one, I went out to like the clock a couple blocks down from this building.
In Marysville, yeah.
Yes. I think it was the Rotary Clock, or
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly
Yeah.
what it's called. And my topic for that episode was like engineering, because I really enjoy all areas of engineering. So I got to talk about all the different kinds, because there's so many, like mechanical, electrical, environmental, aerospace. There's so many. There's like 36. So
Is there a media engineer?
media engine, I think there might be. I think that's a thing.
Kurt might be looking for somebody to help him. Which actually, not to change topics, but you actually got to do the behind the scenes, did some editing on your own.
Oh, yeah.
And then as well as camera work. So you got to be on both sides of the camera. But anyway, go ahead with your story and then you can add that in.
So yeah, basically I use the clock to describe mechanical engineering, because there's a lot of thinking that has to go in towards, like, because mechanical engineering is all about moving systems, like gears and basically all the mechanics in towards it. So that covers clocks, that covers cars, that covers basically anything that moves by itself. And then I got to use all the trees in the area as an example of environmental, and combined with civil, because those are the people that are in charge of like designing towns and cities. So I assume that both of those have to collaborate in order to meet some kind of equilibrium in the area. So I felt like even just in that one corner, I was able to describe 5 different areas of engineering with just a single shot. And it was cool, because I could just kind of walk over to one area, point over to the road and say that those cars were a part of it, then point to the trees next door, and then I could point to the sky if I wanted to, because there's aerospace is things that fly. So
Yeah.
just point up to a passing by an airplane.
So if you were going to continue and do a third episode, because now you've had a chance to think through the basics. This is who I am and how I got here. And then your second one really opened possibility. That
Yeah.
these are the things I could do. These are the things I like. This is why I feel connected to them. Where would you go on a third podcast?
I think for the third one, I would talk about like friendships, I guess, because a lot of my friends that I've made, I have kept ever since elementary school.
Wow.
And those people were like one of the biggest influences towards my personality, because I had ended up making friends with a bunch of kind people, and that kindness kind of like grouped up and we stayed kind. And now that I've grown up, I've noticed that a lot of people are not necessarily kind. They just, I guess, maybe selfish. They don't really care about others. I don't really see many people being kind, and like cussing and everything has become like a regular thing, and not, it's just, that's not my area anymore. I grew away from that. So I guess I'd be considered like a goody two shoes or something. I don't know what people would consider that.
Well, I don't know. So I'm going to have you get up. I'm going to bring the other students in and ask, what do you think of Laz? No, I'm not doing that.
I try to be as kind as I
And
can.
I'll have you go out of the room so they can say, do you think he's a goody two-shoes? I think that rather than dividing it that way, I would divide it this way. You're very focused. right? So you're not just ambling along going, oh, what should I do next, right?
Yeah.
I'll pick up this trend or that trend. You're very focused, and I think that's really true. You had friends that help you stay focused. And I do think sometimes when people don't, a lot of the stuff you're talking about, they do because that's what the crowd does.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, well, then if I want to be accepted, I'm just going to do what the crowd does. But you got a chance to move away from that. So that's really good. So you could move into a third podcast where you could talk about who you pick as friends are going to help shape your next part of your life.
Exactly. And we all have like similar goals. For example, in general, all my friends came from elementary school, but about 4 of them I picked up between kindergarten and 3rd grade, and we have stuck ever since. But our interests kind of stayed the same. We'll have an interest for like maybe learning little new skills. About 3 or 4, our group is like 8 people now, but about 5 of us are all artists in some way. So we all kind of like collaborate with each other to make some pretty good pieces. And I feel like that's very important because we always get in like voice calls and we chat and we have fun and we just laugh the whole time. And it's a great thing.
So I just was out, we were working on, because you guys were doing a radio thing, you know, how do you write an hour of radio? And one of the gals, Emma, was on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And so I ended up talking to her friends, which was really funny. But is that a very common thing? She had 3 of them on there at the same time. Is that what you're talking about?
It's a very common thing. You rarely ever get in a call with just like one-on-one. It depends if your friends are out or doing something else, but very rarely it's not a one-on-one thing. It's usually like 6 people, 4 people, because you either get on to like chat and play a game or chat and play a game.
So did you think that happened because of COVID? That kids started saying, hey, if we can't be around each other, let's do this.
I feel like, for me, I felt like COVID was, it did have it kind of shifted where we would hang out most of the time. Not just because a few maybe moved like a few miles down, so we couldn't hang out in person as much, but COVID did have like a shift because that was really the only way we could communicate or have fun together at that point. And we were stuck like that for about 2 years. So that kind of just stuck. And then everyone moved further again. So it just made it kind of the only way we could enjoy each other's.
So your friends are not all in your neighborhood?
Not anymore. One of them just moved away to Minnesota like a week ago. And another lives.
So you didn't just like cut them off?
No.
They moved away.
They moved away over time. See, we all lived like 3 blocks away from each other, the 5 of us. 2 of them still live like right across the street, but one moved away to Sacramento. One lives in, what's that one area below Olivehurst? Arboga?
Linda?
It's like 15
Plumas
minutes
Lake?
away from here. Yeah, Plumas Lake, that's what it is. One's in Plumas Lake, one's in Sacramento.
So it's still not far.
Not
Because
too far.
you're about to be able to drive.
Yeah,
Sacramento,
so that distance is almost nothing anymore.
Yeah. But I like the idea of connecting like that. So part of your video, you really had actually already experienced. Because if you've been friends that long with, a number of other kids, there's things where they were significant influences in your life and growth. You know?
Yeah.
So if I ask you, who do you look up to? In other words, if you had to name a few people that you said, I know I can learn from them. I know, and I'm going to discount your parents. You got good parents. I know that. Right?
Yeah.
But let's say not your parents. Who else has been an influence where you've got great peer influence, right? So who else was an influence beyond that?
This isn't specific to, is it just specific to my friends or any people that
any people that you have encountered. Could be a coach, could be a teacher, could be anybody. But I hear you saying I've had peer influence, and it's been a good influence on you because you're not in jail.
Yeah.
so I'm asking, so what adults, right, or other people have been that kind of an influence where you've been able to say, I like that. I could see that.
There's two people that immediately came to my mind when you said that. One of them you had here as a, I think an interviewer for your radio when you went on the air. Do you remember Avid by any chance?
Who?
Avid, the program? Mm-mm. If I remember, I'm still a part of this program, but it's for...
Wait a minute. Yes, I do, because I had to ask them what that was, that program Avid. And it's an advanced program for learning.
Yes.
Correct? Okay, yeah, okay, go ahead. Now I do remember.
Do you remember Miss Munoz?
Yes.
Miss Munoz. So she is one of the first... She's probably one of the most influential people to me because of the fact that, one, she was incredibly kind. No matter what you did, no matter how you treated her, she found a way to respond with kindness and not any kind of like aggression. She never yelled. She would just her politeness. Even if you were to be aggressive towards her, you'd feel horrible when she responds so kindly that it's just, she can put it down just
so
like
she's
that.
a great example for that. Yeah.
Exactly. And then another thing was I had her for basically 3 classes, 2 years. I had her my freshman year and my sophomore year, and because I had her for math and then I had her for Avid. So she, because of her patience, she could adjust herself to like my pacing, because although I understand math, I understand it a lot slower. So I need a little bit of extra time. And she understood that. So she always gave me that help that I needed. So I always try to find myself trying to be like her, be patient with people, because some people kind of struggle with that. And I found it with this year because I took a double math class. Without her patience and this new teacher's like quickened pace and slightly aggressive attitude when you don't understand, kind of made it worse because I slowed down more. So she set an example that no one else can really mimic. And she moved over, not to a new school, but she moved over to South Lyndhurst to go teach Avid there. So I've really looked up to her because of the impact she'd left with her patience and kindness, and also her work ethic, because she was really busy. Being a math teacher, she had all those papers to grade, and she also had to deal with the naughty kids, I guess, because she also taught one of the lower classes that were for the kids that were slower. But yet again, her patience was incredible. She could handle that class. And then she also just had time for... Her work ethic allowed her to have time for even hobbies. She did crocheting, and I don't even know how she did it, but she could make all these plushies for an entire class within like a day. She just asked us, what colors do you like? And then we said, these colors. And the next day she walks in with a bag full of crocheted plushies. I don't know how she does it. She's so busy, but she can do all of this.
So she definitely, you could see the benevolence where she was kind and caring and,
hardworking.
So do you have a younger brother or sister?
Yes, I have a younger brother and I have a younger sister.
Okay, so let me ask you, how much has Miss Muniz rubbed off where you're kind and patient with your younger brother?
Oh, okay, wait. I don't know if we should talk about that. I wish I could be kind and patient, but not when my brother's learning jujitsu, because, oh my God, he sneaks up on me and starts strangling me. It's ridiculous.
I have to tell you, I came from a big family. There was 7 of us, but
oh wow!
But there was 4 boys, and the 3 of us boys were, we were scrappers, right? Mm-hmm. But stuff like that, and so there was no question that we loved each other, but there would be some brutal times. I don't know if we had necessarily a lot of patience and kindness. As we got older, we definitely did, but when you're younger, that's why I had to laugh when you were saying that she's a great role model, Miss Muniz. I'd like to be like her. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, you'll learn that patience and kindness if you have younger siblings.
Yes.
Right? So
I had to figure that out the hard way, because me and my brother are just, we love each other, of course, but oh my goodness, we're always like roughhousing with each other. It's ridiculous.
So I noticed since I met you that I razz you, I kid you.
Oh,
I joke with you, and you do very well with that. You're not moved by it. Like, so you can take a kidding, and that really helps. That's part of patience is not being able to, because not everybody. Now, some people, when they're being sarcastic, it's mean.
Yeah.
And so there is a difference. I think sarcasm is one of the funniest forms of humor.
Sarcasm is amazing. Yeah. I try to use it all the time.
Yeah. But if you don't know how to use it, it can be very offensive. And then some people are very, you have to be careful. You can't kid everybody.
Some people take it to heart.
So how many kids are in your family? Just three?
Just three, yeah. Me, my brother, and my sister. Yeah. We're all 5 years apart, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Except that trend ended because my sister's 6 now. And my parents decided no more children because it's...
The factory has closed.
Yeah.
We're done. We're moving on. So you were talking about the different influences. Well, really, Laz, you're getting ready to. This will be your last year of high school.
Yes.
And you have you've interned with us for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so I had talked to you about, would you like to not just volunteer, but actually work here during your last year of school, because you can't intern because if it's an internship over the summer, right? And I ask you because I felt like, in particular, I mean, I know you've learned some things from me, formatting, blah, 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 but I felt like because Kurt had come to me and said that you really grab hold of how these things work very quickly. You think that's because of your interest in engineering? It's like, I mean, you probably could take the camera apart, right?
I could. Honestly, I could. I might have gotten it from my uncle, maybe. I might have gotten it from my uncle.
Yeah.
Because he's a tech fanatic. Like, he always has the newest form of technology. Like when the iPhone 16 came out, he bought that immediately just to use the new AI that it has on it. And then he has you guys have a bunch of DJI products with the cameras and the microphones. My uncle has one of their drones. The quality on that thing is insane, and he's bought 3 because he's crashed 2 of them, but he managed to repair 1 of them.
I think of that. I found out we have a friend, Tyler Johnson, who does a lot of drone work. He's a camera guy, video guy. And I found out that certain aspects of drones, you have to actually get a license.
Well, yes. I just learned about this because I'm really wanting to buy my own because they're so cheap now. You can get one for like $250. DJI is the best brand, so getting something from them is the best of the best. And you have to get a license if the drone weighs more than 250 grams.
Oh.
But the drone that I'm going for is 249. Right below the limit, so you don't have to get the license for it.
Well, you could get the license, though. You're a smart kid.
Well, I could.
I'm waiting for you to get your driver's license, right? That's coming up next.
That's in 2 months. I'm right there. I'm getting close.
All right, so listen, now that you've had an opportunity to intern, and obviously this year was much more. You guys got to do a lot more this year.
Way more.
And you got to expand what you knew. And it's like, so has it helped you have any confidence if somebody said, hey, there's a job opening to do whatever? Do you think this has helped you being in a work environment like this to know? Because, it's work environment isn't just the job. It's getting along with others. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. Getting to work on time, not bothering the boss.
Yeah.
Right,
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I do. I might bother you just a little bit.
He caught that. Good one, Laz. So do you feel more confident, job skills wise, but working with others? Because I felt like this group, you four did an exceptional job of working with each other. And even when I brought Aiden, my grandson, in, because he had been through before, and you knew him, you met him. But man, he just blended right in. You guys were very cooperative with one another.
Absolutely.
And then Emma brought her friend Lily in.
Yeah.
And Lily wasn't part of your group, wasn't part. Aiden, the other Aiden from the other school, Marysville Charter for the Arts. So you guys had to learn how to not just get along in a workspace, but collaborate with the work you were doing. You think that's helped you at all?
Absolutely. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't have helped me. Working in this is very professional. All this equipment and everything is very professional. I feel like have been in here working with people in a professional environment and actually doing the work that you guys are already doing yourself is very beneficial, because I can tell people that I've done this before. I've been in this environment and I've worked well with people, because I treat you well, I think.
You do.
So,
you do. You're very respectful. That's why I kick you.
And I feel like
I'm getting ready to ask you what you think of Kurt.
Oh,
and you're going to have to say.
I was just talking about Kurt yesterday when we were filming our final.
You were. So what did you say?
Because Kurt, he's the camera guy.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Kurt. I got only bad stuff to say. Nah.
Because the reason I ask is Kurt really is the technical side of this.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so because of that skill set, I'm the relational side, right? The way to present things, blah, 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 the business side. But Kurt's really the nitty gritty, the technical side, camera angle, why he changes shots, all that. So what do you think you got from that?
From Kurt?
Yeah.
So Kurt, so when I originally started filming, I was just kind of filming. There was not really any prior knowledge. I mean, I did have a little bit of prior knowledge, but Kurt has guided me, because he's my teacher for this stuff. He guided me on composition, and that's the framing of where the people are, where the background is, and then making sure there's this thing even here called headspace. Mm-hmm. So making sure that the top of the video isn't too close to the top of the head. Give him a little room so it looks natural, not it doesn't look off.
Yeah, so the top of the screen is right here.
Just cutting them off.
It's like that. They don't. Do they have a hat on? I can't see the top of their head.
And so once I learned composition, I tried that myself. Mm-hmm. And so I remember you mentioning that I helped with filming one of the other interns' podcasts.
Yeah.
There was this one scene that I got where I composed the shot while filming, where I was backing up slowly, because they were talking about the clock, but they were off to the side. So I was backing up, pulling the camera down so I could angle it up to get the whole clock, but also get Lily and Emma on the side. And everyone liked that shot. So Kurt, I think, was a big part of that, because he helped me, he guided me towards what to do correctly, and it proved itself in that shot.
So you brought up Lily and Emily, which they were a crack up. Not Emily, Emma. So they were a crack up, because they were the first ones that we just shot them walking down the street.
Oh yeah, it was just natural.
So you got a chance to take clips out of that. So I want to talk about this for a minute. Kurt had told me that you really grabbed hold of editing quickly.
Oh,
so had you done editing before, Laz?
Absolutely. I've been doing, I touched it very lightly about 2 years ago, but if we're saying it in general, I've been doing it for 2 years, and I've been doing it a lot more recently because I've been messing with all the effects and learning new techniques. Green screening is very, very simple. You just key out the green and you get whatever image or GIF is playing. But there's also some cool techniques recording a little shot, you saying something, because you can duplicate yourself. You just keep it in the same spot, say what you want to say, keep it rolling, and then go on the other side, and then say what you want to say on the other, cut it, and mask it. And then you can just duplicate yourself, calling yourself stupid. Well, not yourself, but I did that to myself in one of my videos.
Was he just trying to offend me? What happened? No. Did I miss that? Was that sarcasm?
We could stop this recording.
We could just stop it.
I'm sorry.
And we'll mask it like he said, and we'll go back, and we'll have Les telling himself that he's stupid.
Oh, my goodness. I could do that.
So all in all, this has been a great experience for you. What I'm most pleased with this particular group of interns is that you guys were definitely able to connect relationally, and it didn't matter whether because it was really supposed to be Emma, Aiden, and you. That was the initial interns.
Yeah.
But then she invited Lillian because she was going to do a show closer. But then you guys were able to connect with that. And then we brought Aiden in, who had been in before.
Yeah.
My grandson, Aiden. So you were able to bring him in. So they had not worked with him before.
Yeah.
So they had to do their program working. But everything we pulled with you guys, every bit of it, you pulled it off. Every bit. You just grabbed hold of it and did it. So.
And it was great. I loved the whole time because there were some funny moments when we were trying to film like a last part, I think, to Emma's podcast where we walked in the building, but Aiden had accidentally been behind the camera and Emma told me to do a 360 of the building. But since Aiden was behind me, I had to awkwardly shift the camera up, make it look natural, but you could tell it was very unnatural. So there was
because he was there.
Luckily, he wasn't in.
Well, listen, thanks for taking the time to do this. I know it was kind of impromptu. I really did enjoy at times springing things on you guys because I really believe you guys are up to the challenge. So no matter what I gave this group, you guys did it. I know that you would have liked if I would have given you the information in advance, but I don't think it would have accomplished the same goal.
Exactly.
It helped you guys have to spring into action on the moment. Here it is. I've got to do that. I tried to give you a lot of freedom in choosing things, but then at the same time, tasking you with things. So you had to move in a certain direction and up to and including, I'm very grateful because I didn't get to have the conversation with Kurt to find out how you connected. So it's really good to know that on projects you were able to talk with him, not just in editing, but in actually camera work. So I had him go out with you so that he could do that. And then it sounds like you picked that up. Probably all of you guys did. I just didn't have time to interview all of you, so I wanted to do that. So any last words, Laz?
Last words. I'm going to come back next year, and I'm going to bother you one last time.
All right.
One last time.
Notice he didn't say bother Kurt. I don't know.
Maybe I'll bother Kurt again.
Oh, so Kurt is the kind and patient one. We've got his number now, Kurt, right? Well, we'd love to have you back. You've been a great intern. It's why I wanted to put you on a podcast. I wanted people to see a different side. I have this thing that I believe that younger people are often misunderstood and categorized by what people see that's sensationalized on the news. Whatever kid does a bad thing, that's what we hear about. And there's so many of you guys that have got you may not know exactly what you're going to do in life, but you got a clear direction. I saw great kindness with you guys, with one another, laughing and joking, making the connections. And I just think it's important that people know that. And they know, look, if you're worried about where the world's going to be, you need to think of the kids like Laz that are out there already heading down that direction and recognize that there's a whole bunch like you. As a matter of fact, you spoke, there's 8 in your group, so there's at least 8 more like you out there. So
yes, it's just that group is usually singled out a little bit, but
you got past it. You're good. All right, so listen, I want to thank everybody for watching these In the Tank with Fish. This is a little impromptu. I pulled this on these guys all along as they've done their internship. But I do want people to know that. And so if there's somebody out there that you really feel like, hey, I'd like people to know they got a great story, their life has been interesting, or you may think, well, to have a story, you've got to already be down the road, but that's not really true. You may just not be able to define your story. But yeah, just leave us a comment in there. Let us know. Again, like, subscribe, follow, and share. I think I got all 4 of those right. I'm getting better at it. And then let us know if there's somebody that you'd like us to interview. So again, thank you for being with us today on In the Tank with Fish.
All right, that was great.
Wait. We got something else we're supposed to do.
What?
We got one more thing. So have a seat. And that is, you only get one of these if you've weathered being in the tank with fish.
Oh,
so here's your very own cup.
Yes.
See, not everybody has one of those. And then it doesn't have your name on there, but
look,
just use a magic marker.
Just a magic marker. Scribble it on. I'll put Laz on it.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I'm gonna love this mug.
So you actually now have an In the Tank with Fish cup and a 93Q T-shirt.
See, you guys are just giving out merch at this point.
Yeah, I'm telling you, next he'll want a hat. Right? So,
yeah, I already have. You gave me a hat last year.
Oh, I got a hat. He's good to go. So anyway, listen. Sorry, we had to break back in because I forgot he had to have that hat. So again, like, subscribe, secure, do what? Go out and play baseball. I don't know. Just do stuff. I don't know what to say. I'm done.